Hi guys, this is gsndon.com and I'm here with the Lenovo Phab Plus. It's a very big phablet that debuted in the fall of 2015 at IFA 2015, and someone who saw me using this model called it the iPhone 6 Plus Plus, where I guess they were right. It's somewhere between a phone, or better said a phablet, and a tablet because it measures 6.8 inches in diagonal. It's priced at $350, and now we're talking about the design first. It's the biggest phone I've ever tested, comes in grey, silver or gold, and reminds us a bit of the iPhone 6 Plus. Measures 7.6 mm in thickness, weighs 229 grams, and meanwhile the iPhone 6s Plus is 0.3 mm slimmer and about 30 grams or more lighter. It's also a similar size compared to the Huawei P8 Max, maybe except for the thickness. It's impossible to use with a single hand. However, it's excellent for video watching and gaming if you're planning to do that in landscape mode like this. It has a unibody metal chassis with an OK grip, solid build, and it's about 20 mm wider than the iPhone 6s Plus, which gives you an idea of how big it is. The screen you're seeing right here is a 6.8 incher with an IPS LCD panel, a Full HD resolution, realistic colors, and wide view angles. The screen is not very bright. It's also not very good outdoors because the contrast isn't exactly top-notch. The pixels are of the RGB stripe kind, which can be seen here under the microscope, and when using the lux meter in our test we achieved 248 lux units, which frankly speaking would be better. It's somewhere between the LG G Flex 1 and G Flex 2, and even below the Asus phones we complained about their brightness last year. Still, it's good for video and casual gaming, and especially if you do that indoors. Now, if you want to talk about performance, this means CPU first. So, Qualcomm Snapdragon 615, that's the processor. It's an octa-core 1.5 GHz chip. It's a 64-bit unit accompanied by 2 GB of RAM and 32 GB of storage. This device also offers a microSD card slot that brings you an extra 64 GB, and it's a bit above the HTC Desire 820 when it comes to the benchmarks. And for example, if you have a look at 3D Mark and the more complex tests, you'll find that in the GPU section, in the graphical section, this is below the HTC Desire 820, although in most of the benchmarks it surpasses the HTC Desire phone I just mentioned. And they share the same CPU as far as I know. Of course, benchmarks aren't everything. You'll see a lot of them in the full text review. It also runs games pretty fine, games like Riptide GP2, but also the very famous Dead Trigger 2, which is a bit of a benchmark title. And here we go. Get Out of the Underground. That's what the graphics look like here. Now we have to kill a zombie. Just a quick demo to show you how well the game looks on this big phablet. Once again, you can play Asphalt 8, the latest FIFA games, Death Trigger, and whatever else you fancy on this phone without a problem on this big phablet. It doesn't have any lag in the user interface. We played with it for a few days and encountered no lag, except for the moment when you open up an app. It takes almost 1 second to open an app, which feels a bit like lag in my opinion. And performance would be nothing without temperature, which we also measured and achieved 35.1 degrees Celsius, which means there is no overheating. This temperature is achieved after playing the game Riptide GP2 for 15 minutes. Once again, no overheating. Now, as far as the audio is concerned, there are no headphones bundled, so you have to do with the speaker, which is interestingly placed at the top in the camera area. So we'll be using one of the two players. You can either use Play Music or this one here, which has an antique user interface. I believe it's from the times of Gingerbread. Not impressive. And that's how a song sounds. While at first sight or hearing it may sound okay, the volume is quite low and the player looks antique. And I have to mention that while the speaker is quite big and the volume is let's say mid-level, there is a bit of muffling when placing the device on a flat surface. Totally covers up and you lose some decibels here. The level of decibels is below 80, which is not impressive, but at least the sound is clean, clear, and the bass, I would say, is quite good, but nothing more than that. Okay, we're stopping the song, and luckily we also have some tweaks to bring to the acoustic experience. Thanks to the Dolby app, you can turn it on or off. We got options for game, voice, music, and custom, which you can tweak with the dialogue enhancer, surround virtualizer, and intelligent, rich, open, or focused custom option. Okay, the Dolby Atmos technology is welcome, but still the volume doesn't impress. Now, as far as the camera is concerned, if you move over the back, 13 megapixel shooter with dual LED flash, and at the front 5 megapixel shooter for the selfies. The user interface is a bit of a mixed bag, and when I say mixed I mean confused, because the capture modes are overlapping. So we have those ones here, automatic, landscape, sports, flowers, backlight, and the works, and then we got those ones here, action shot, smart capture, night mode, HDR, panorama, and video. And as I said before, they tend to overlap. Other than that, it's an old school looking interface, not many options, just the bare minimum like panorama and things like that. Okay, just froze a bit, so I was saying before, no lag except for some apps. Obviously, we've taken a full gallery of shots with the camera, 70 of them. You can view them in the text review, and you can check out several of them here. Started with indoor shots, found out that the flash was powerful, selfies were okay, close-ups were also pretty good. We went outdoors on a sunny day, were impressed by the colors and the clarity. Some blurry shots happened every once in a while, and the HDR was too white. If you're patient enough to focus, you should get some good frames out of it. For $350, I'd say that the quality is okay. Once again, good close-ups. It's about the same quality of pictures as the one you get with the HTC Desire 820 phone. I keep comparing the phablet with. This is a good panorama at first sight, but when you zoom in, a lot of blur. Now, as far as the video goes, video capture I mean, well, we're dealing here with a model that films in MP4 with a generous bitrate and has a pretty echoey acoustics. And let's find a video to watch. So MP4, generous bitrate, echoey acoustics, okay clarity. It was raining on that day, very cloudy day, good colors, a bit of a blur in the background, and when zooming in, there's quality loss. I find the video capture to be a bit above the HTC Desire 820 and the Asus Zenfone 2. We're done with the camera, and it's time to check out the web browser. The pre-installed web browser here is Chrome, good old Chrome, which is kind of slow. Here we go, gsmdome.com, loaded our site in a, let's say, mid-level speed, smooth scrolling, and the keyboard is the typical virtual one from Lollipop with big buttons to use. On the connectivity front, we're getting here a handset that offers dual SIM slots. We got a nano SIM slot and a micro SIM slot, and LTE support is also here. So on the connectivity front, we got the Wi-Fi 802.11, ABGN AC, Bluetooth 4.0, GPS, and when doing calls, the signal is good. We got pretty loud calls, okay clarity, but it's strange to use this format of device next to your ear, so it's recommended that you use a Bluetooth headset. The Wi-Fi speed was quite good, 23 megabits in download, 22 megabits in upload, once again via Wi-Fi. Now it's time to discuss the battery. What we're getting here is a 3500 mAh unit, lithium polymer. Frankly speaking, I was expecting a bit more, considering this is almost a tablet. In the end, we got about 8 hours and 58 minutes of continuous HD video playback, which is a small duration for almost a 7-incher. It's even below small phones like the Galaxy A5 or the LG AKA, so I was expecting more once again. In PC Mark, we scored a pretty reasonable 6 hours and 31 minutes, which places us a bit below the Nexus 6P and Galaxy S6 Edge, but only a bit. Charging is reasonable, 2 hours and 49 minutes. It's great for this size. Usually big phablets charge in 3 or even 4 hours. Now if you want to talk about OS, UI and apps, you probably figured out We're running here on Android 5.0.2 Lollipop with very small customizations. The basic thing to remember is that we have the stock widgets, we have the typical multitasking that involves a carousel, we got a drop-down area that includes quick settings, including some novelty like Dolby, screen shrink, one-hand keyboard and smart shortcut. Other than that, well, we have 36 apps pre-installed, which is quite a bit. It's between bloatware and no bloatware, but in case you're wondering, let's see what those options do, because I'm sure you're curious. So we got screen shrink, which basically should shrink the screen to an area such like this one, if need be. Then we got one-hand keyboard, which displays the keyboard in a certain area of the screen. And then we got smart shortcut, which uses this widget here to show a bunch of extra settings and functions. We got camera, calculator, favorites, gesture, switcher, music, back and add. Comes in handy, but some people may not like it. Okay, deactivating this one as well. And back to the apps. As I said before, there are 36 apps available here, and it's not huge bloatware in my book. I've seen more than that. I've seen 50 apps. It's in between bloatware and no bloatware. We got calculator, calendar, camera, Chrome, clock, contacts. There's Dolby, downloads, drive, email, FM radio, gallery, Gmail, Google settings, Google Plus, Hangouts, Lenovo Phablet, Maps, McAfee is important, the antivirus solution, messaging, messenger, music, there's phone, photos, play books, play games, play music, play newsstand, play store, settings, share it, sound recorder, sync it, voice search and YouTube finally. And now that we're done with the software, it's time for the verdict. As I said before, we're dealing here with a new format. I'm sure you were sick of those 1 hour long reviews, so we shortened it up, made it more compact and concise, but still try to not leave out information. So on the pro side, the Lenovo Phab Plus is good for gamers, has a solid build, has okay performance in games, offers Dolby Atmos technology, has an okay camera considering the price tag, and both of the cameras are good. I'm happy with the selfies as well. The battery is okay in PC mark at least, so continuous usage is good. Charging is quite fast for this format. There's no bloatware, the UI is clean, so those are the pros. On the cons side, well, this is a massive model, it's not for everyone, it's also not very bright, doesn't have a good contrast, it lags when opening apps about a second, could be louder, video capture could also be a bit better, and finally the interface in the camera area and the music player is a bit confused and old looking. So basically the Lenovo Phab Plus is a $350 mega phablet for gamers and people who like to watch videos on the go, but only inside, not outside, because the contrast is not very good. Camera wise, I'm happy with the photo capture from this camera and this camera too. The display and acoustics could be better, the design remains solid, nothing really big to object about the design, and I stand by the claim, this is sort of an iPhone 6 Plus only in a lighter version. It's like that 6-foot student in a classroom who is big and stands out, but in the end he's mediocre at learning and good at sports. So this is the Lenovo Phab Plus, $350 phablet, okay for gamers who like to do a bit of casual shooting on the go. That's it from jsnon.com, bye bye.